welcome to our first television production called Program to Win. My name is Chuck Bushbeck, and I'm very excited to have three guests with me today. Over here is Ryan Bushbeck, my son, who is just finishing up a college career at Nuemann University. In the middle, Gary Mitchell, who was the 21st round draft pick of the Los Angeles Angels in the 2010 draft, and Steve Carcarey, the head coach of Widener Baseball. Thanks for being here. Fellas, thanks for coming out today. As you know, we're putting together our first television program today, and it's also accompanied with a DVD, several DVDs that we've composed. And I'm going to talk to Coach Carcarey first. Coach, I was out at your school last year, and when I gave that presentation to your team, the outcome was, at the end, is that you guys won your first MAC Conference Championship. You were the head coach of Widener University, first time the school has ever accomplished something like that. What do you feel got you to that point that you could take your baseball team and win a conference championship?
Chuck, I knew we had the talent, physical talent. I'm a firm believer that the mental is just as important. And I think what you brought out of our team was the mental side of our team. We had peaks and valleys throughout the year, but I also go back to the mental side where we bring in different speakers. But I think your speech to our boys really enhanced us to get us to where we needed to go and win a championship.
Okay. When I came in and we talked about energy and we talked about vision and detachment and obstacles, can you relate to one of those items that you personally went through, your team went through as a team?
Well, I think the word obstacle is perfect. We had an obstacle in the beginning of the year. It was really a situation where we were either going to succeed or we were just going to close it up, and that would be our season. But I think the talk that you gave us and knowing that, you know, if we believed in ourselves and we can overachieve this obstacle, we could have a great outcome. And we moved on, and again, we ended up in winning the championship.
Fantastic. Gary, you were the 2010 21st round draft pick of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. We've talked a number of times, and I kind of know a little bit about your past. Can you kind of get into a little bit of maybe what your vision was for your life up until the draft day?
Yeah, you know, when I was in high school, played football, did swimming, did baseball, did all that. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I had to do something with baseball though. And then once I went on after high school, I realized baseball was where it was at. I needed to play professional baseball. That was my dream, that was my goal.
Okay, and then the year before last, which is 2009 draft,
yeah,
you had a pretty good year. You played for a local community college.
Yep.
And then you transferred to a Division III school. And it was at that time, at that school, that you were drafted in the 21st round. What was the difference between the 2010 draft, I'm sorry, the 2009 draft and the 2010 draft for you?
Well, after 2009 draft, when I didn't get drafted, it was kind of, you know, probably one of the hardest things I had to go through, because I set pretty much my whole life around sports and figured out I could maybe go somewhere with baseball. And then when you work so hard for something and then you don't achieve it, it's kind of, you know, it's heartbreaking. And, you know, so after that, I kind of just did my thing, you know. I worked harder, you know. I had that goal in mind and I wasn't going to let anybody stop me. So, when 2010 season came around, you know, I just tried to go do my best. I didn't want to worry about any, you know, if there were scouts there, just play my game, you know, not kind of try to overachieve or do anything like that. So
it's safe to say you kind of got that ego out of the way. You didn't need to accomplish it, but you wanted this, and there was just no one going to stop you at that point.
Exactly.
So I would say you would change the energy around and how you approached all that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, okay. The energy on my half was, I'm playing for me. I'm not playing for anybody else. This is my dream, my goal. Right. I'm not going to let anybody stop me. This is what I want to do.
And when you took that on, people were drawn to you at that point. You didn't have to go find anybody.
Exactly.
Okay. Ryan, who is my son, and he's finishing up a fantastic career at Nuemann University. as a soccer player. Ryan was all conference for the last couple of years at Nuemann. His team won the CSAC championship for the first time in school history, and you were voted the most valuable player of your team. When you were announced as the most valuable player of your team, how did that feel to you? What was that like for you?
It was an amazing feeling, especially because it's not exactly something you strive for, because as a team sport you always look for the team accomplishments. But knowing that you're recognized as the most valuable player to help your team get to where you wanted them to get them, it's a very special feeling that you can have.
Okay. Many people have come up to me and said that it was Ryan's energy that got us to the NCAA quarterfinals. How would you say that's accurate?
I say it's very accurate because a lot of times, like if you look at our conference, one of our players on our team got voted best player of the year in the conference, but that's for his on-the-field accomplishments. They don't, and that's based on votes from the coaches, so they don't see what goes on in practices, off the field and everything. I think that's what my coach is able to see. So at our own banquet, he was able to give the team MVP to me because he realized what kind of energy I was bringing to the table for everybody on the team, and I was always trying to raise the level, bring up the intensity, and everything was pedal to the floor, for whether it was just a practice, pickup game, or the playoffs or the championship. It was all the same level.
And as you went through your season, like Coach Carcarey said, there was obstacles right away for you. Do you remember those obstacles with your coach, your players, and everything that was happening at the time?
There were a lot of obstacles. We had some run-ins with our coach and everything. A lot of guys didn't like their playing time, and I was one of the ones that got almost all the playing time, and I was still complaining because I never wanted to come off the field because I was always high intensity, high energy. But we worked things out with our coach and everything, and there was a time where we had to sit down and have a meeting, get everything clear out of the open, and change all that negative energy back into positive, and worked things out. And after that, I believe we went on an 11-game winning streak before finally losing in a national tournament. So I think that was an essential component to our run.
Okay, fantastic. Gary, you were down in Arizona this year with the Angels farm team. What was that like for you? What was the competition like that maybe you didn't experience in high school or college?
Yeah, everyone that goes out there is the best player on their college or high school team. So facing that day in and day out was definitely a big change. High school and college, you'd have an ace maybe every fourth day, and down there it was an ace every day, throwing mid 90s, and I just wasn't used to it, and it was something that I had to overcome myself and get used to.
And what kind of mental preparation or on-the-job training did you find yourself in when you had to go through that?
Well, we had early work every day, so I just took advantage of that, trying to get better. And then you look at films, try to look at guys' tendencies, what they're going to throw, and it was pretty much just, it was 24/7, and that's pretty much.
Okay. Coach Carcarey, I'm sure you can relate to that because you're getting guys out of high school, and you're fighting hard to get the kids that you can recruit, and you're looking for certain academics from certain kids. You also realize that there's going to be some kids that aren't going to play at your school, and you got to figure out what kid is signable, which kids do we want, which kids we want to stay away from. What do you do in that whole process? What do you bring to the table that allows you to try to pick the best kids out, knowing that they're coming from high schools, they're all successful, and now you're going to college, the competition's getting stiffer?
I think it's touched on one of the things that Gary just mentioned at the next level, and it also goes into college from the high school, is once they go to the next level, they're no longer the king of the mountain anymore because the talent is as good, if not better, than where they're at. But we do a lot of background check, try to make sure the mental side of makeup, this kid is who we want in our program, because it's like high school is mainly in territorial. they have to go to that high school. You know, there is some open enrollment, but in college now, we get to, as coaches, we get to pick and choose who we would like to be on our team. Sure, talent is one of the things we look at, but also from the academic side is we got to make sure this kid's going to be eligible for 4 years.
Right.
You know, there's different criteria. You know, we look at his class rank, his GPA, and his SATs.
Okay.
Make sure that they're able to, you know, they can do this for 4 years.
Right. Ryan, can you relate to that as a player? What coach is saying about you're in a new environment now. It's not high school anymore, but it's college. It's a different type of competition. Maybe the travel scheme's different. You're a little more independent. Did you change your energy around to, you know, to get you where you needed to get to?
There's definitely a few things that are a big difference. Level of competition definitely raises. Whenever you go to another level, the competition is going to get better. But even things outside of just the competition, like such as traveling and stuff, trips were much further. Sometimes you have to stay overnight, and it's very easy to get distracted and have your visions go somewhere else and start thinking about the wrong things. Mm-hmm. You want to try to keep your mind focused on the goal at hand, though, such as like if you're going out to, you got to stay overnight at a hotel instead of enjoying the night and sneaking out, going to a bar or something like that. You got to make sure you're focused on the game. Or if it's a long bus ride, you want to make sure that you stay focused and basically you want to stay focused and keep your energy in the right way, even when you have distractions.
So it'd be safe to say for any of us, it's kind of comes down to who wants it more. Is that a safe?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyone can comment on, you know, what they wanted and you weren't going to be denied that? I know Coach Carr, you already kind of alluded to that fact. Did you want to comment any more on it? About Gary, you mentioned you wanted something bad and you weren't going to be denied. What was the difference between you and that other guy, or you and that other team, when your team or you guys stepped out in the field? What was the difference in your mindset? Anybody?
Chuck, I think one of the things is character and leadership. You know, I think if you have the right kids and the right team, the right chemistry, you know, again, we learned from the beginning of the year how the obstacle wasn't in our way. We grew together as a family. We accepted, you know, the situation would happen. And in the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, towards the end of the year, you know, we really came close as a family. And the leadership took part. The kids grew up, and it went a long way.
So basically, the old phrase, say to the mountain, move, and it moves. But I would think it's because you want this. It wasn't you found yourself there dealing with an obstacle and you weren't passionate about what you wanted. The fact that you were passionate about what you wanted, the obstacle was going to be overcome. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In reference to your draft decision and from one year to the other,